Yeah, so to host this is such a pleasure, and I just want to welcome you. So I would
Thank
like
you.
to read you all bios first, if I may, just to let people know
Sure.
how we have two wonderful legends, which I'm going to call you Queen Legends, here in the presence of this webinar, Zoom, and for those who cannot see them, they are beautiful. So I would just like to say that, and it is just a pleasure. So I want to start out with Ms. Franklin. She is best known for the landmark play Black Girls. Ms. Franklin is the founder of the Black Girl Ensemble Theater in New York City and a faculty member of the Harlem School of the Arts. Ms. Franklin has earned acclaim for her uncompromising depiction of contemporary African-American life. Her plays and other writings examine themes of identity, family relationships, and oppression. They portray both the dreams and the harsh realities that shape the experience of African Americans in the decades after the Civil Rights Movement. In 1972, Black Girl became a featured film with a screen adaptation by Ms. Franklin, featuring the star-studded cast, direction by Ossie Davis. Over the next 4 decades, Ms. Franklin received many awards for playwriting, among the National Endowment of the Arts Fellowship in 1979, Rockefeller Fellowship in 1980, the John F. Kennedy New American Play Award. She has taught at a number of academic institutions, including the Lehman College, the University of Iowa, Touro College. In addition to Black Girl, many of her plays have been produced at theaters around the country. A First Step of Freedom in 1964, The Crowd in 1964, Four Women in 1973, Big Pilot in 1974, The Prodigal Sister in 1974, Mrs. Honey Youngins in 1984, The Honest One Who Go and Nowhere in 1992, the Christ Child in 1992, Mother, Dear Mother, I Still Think of Thee, and the way they call us, that's why they call us colored, bless their hearts, in 2017. Woo, that's many accolades. And to my surprise, when Carolyn wrote me, she told me Peggy Pettit would be here. And I was like, no way. I said, no way. And so it is an honor to have you here, Ms. Pettis. And Ms. Pettis is a teacher, a playwright, a storyteller. She is like around the world of teaching. She still hopefully dance.
Kinda.
Billie Jean.
Yes. And
Kinda.
she was
I'm on mute.
she was the lead of Billie Jean. So it is a pleasure to meet
Thank
you
you.
both.
Thank you.
I would like to discuss, because I did a little research on the play and I did some research on the adaptation of the film. It's like in 1969, it was public broadcast on WGBH in Boston. And then in 1971, it hit the stage. And it was directed by a woman, Chanel Perry.
Harry.
Perry. And then in 1972, after it won its award, it's the drama award, then it went to the screenplay. So my question is to you, what was the difference between it being on stage and it becoming a screenplay, and also being directed by a woman, and the great Ossie Davis?
Well, there was definitely a difference. When I did it for WGBH in Boston, I had to cut about 20 minutes out of the piece. It was originally running about an hour and 20 minutes. And because for television, you can only shrink that down to just 58 minutes, because you have to allow time for the commercials. And so I cut all those pages out of the original piece. And over the years, I lost the pages. I couldn't find them. And even for the film, I couldn't find those pages that I had cut out. And I didn't find those 20 pages until about 3 or 4 years ago. And so I published the original script with all those restored pages. And it's now in a book with 3 other plays. And the title of the book is To Break Every Yoke. And it was about the theme is freedom, personal freedom, political freedom, freedom. And then when I got to the stage, of course, that's a whole nother thing. You have to sort of readjust
Yes.
from the videotape to the stage, and then to the screen, and then to the page and the book. So this is about 4 different mediums that I've had to work in for this one piece. It was good training.
It was good training, and was it your first one that you did in terms of the screenplay and having to give up some type of not rights, but just how you wanted to portray? You know, sometimes what happens with screenwriters, with playwriters, that when they give over their material, they give over their material freely, but also putting it in the hands of the director to really bring and portray the film. Were you satisfied with both the stage and of the screen in terms of the portrayal of the film, of the play?
Well, I was very satisfied with the WGBH version, and then when it got to the stage, and that was my first stage play, by the way.
Oh.
I was very pleased with what Shawneel Perry had done with the piece on the stage, because having a woman director it changes the whole focus and dimension of the piece. I felt that on the stage, we got a broader sense of the role of the 2 sisters in the piece, where you could actually see them. You know, when you're looking at what's happening on the stage, it's a lot different from seeing it in that little television box. You just get heads. But the stage version was it was an experience for me that has carried over into the current project that I'm working on. So working on the stage was good discipline.
So also, let me ask you this question too, in terms of the cast and on the screenplay, of P.D. and Leslie Huggins and Miss Peggy here, and you know, you had a stellar cast there. You know, you had Brock Peters also. Brock Peters, and so in terms of, and I mean, you know, the Negro Ensemble has been around for a long time. I also know Woody King, so it's just like, so to have that ensemble of actors, Black actors during that time in the 1960s, and what we all went through, from Black exploitation films to plays, and now here you have this Black woman who is a playwright who has, you know, you were before the Black exploitation films. And so here you are, and to have this stellar cast of these young, you know, Ruby Dee. At first I had to really look, I said, that was Ruby Dee who did that turn of the head, and then you got to really see her face. I said, you better work that, Miss Ruby. And so I was wondering, and I mean, everybody. So how was that in terms of working with that brilliant cast of ensemble of great Black actors during the time?
Oh, I was blessed, and you can imagine that, you know, as a young playwright, a new screenwriter, and that was my first screenplay, and I get all these name actors. I don't think I could have gotten any luckier.
Right.
Because other playwrights who were coming along with me at that time were not fortunate enough to land even one of those persons, let alone that many. And there's so many of them that are no longer with us today.
Yeah.
But so that's why we're really fortunate to have Peggy here, because
Yes.
this is Billie Jean. This is
Right,
this is
right.
Black girl.
Yeah.
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 So I want to move it on to Miss Peggy here to ask you, what was it like in terms of your audition for this? Was this your first time, your first role in such a great play, or
Oh, yes.
screenplay?
It was the first time. And I was in college at the time when I met I don't know if you remember Flo Kennedy or if you've ever
Oh,
heard of Flo Kennedy. And she said, when she said, you remember Flo
oh
Kennedy,
yeah, everybody
she
remembers
told me
Flo.
that when I got to New York, I had to go find out where they were auditioning for Black Girl and I should audition for that place. She just had this instinctive thing. But I want to get to the fact that J.E. Franklin, she could have had anyone play Black Girl, but she chose a Black girl
Yeah.
that was from St. Louis. And with all the struggles that we all go through. And she did not care about the stars that they proposed to play Billie Jean.
Mhm.
She wanted something that was true and resonated as true. And she's always been like that. She has her values, very sensitive and profoundly human, real. And from the day I met her, we've been friends ever since. And I cannot say enough good things about J.E. She Black Girl was symbolic and real. It wasn't just a
Was.
film. It was an indication for my life. And fortunately, over time, my whole family, my brothers and sisters, have had the opportunity to express the gratitude that we feel towards J.E. Franklin
Mhm.
and the integrity that she has as a filmmaker, as an artist, a writer. She's just real. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we talked about before everyone came on, is that that story that is no matter what demographics you are from, where across the waters, we all can relate to that story. And I don't know if you ever saw the great late director Usam Bin from Senegal, Black Girl.
Yes,
I've
yes,
seen
yes.
And
pictures.
so when I saw that for the first time, and then now seeing this film that I hadn't seen for a long time, and my first time seeing Usam Bin's film, it kind of, whether it's still a part of our struggles,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's your film and his film your film reminded me of that, you know, that young African woman trying to find a new life, just like your character, Peggy, in terms
Yeah.
of wanting to dance and wanting to become
Yes.
someone, you know, within ourselves. You know, we have our own struggles within our own, with our own people, within our own society, within our own nation. And then we
Right.
have those struggles with ourselves. And you
Yes.
portrayed that so well in that film, you
Yes.
know, of being, you know, being caught in the middle of wanting to be someone and wanting to fit in with your family and to look.
Yes.
Everybody got some family member like that. Where did they go? Okay.
Yeah.
My screen changed. That's what's like.
The screen change.
So for you to talk about for us to talk about that in terms of,
Yeah.
you know, I'm originally from Detroit.
Oh,
Franklin is from Houston, Texas, from
yes.
St. Louis. We know those towns, so you know, we know those cities so well, and they're major cities. Whether your parents or whether your people come from
Whatever.
down south, they came up north, and the
Yes.
struggles of that, and that was in uh, the struggle of another great play of Pearly Victorious,
Yes.
of knowing from down south, from coming from down south to up north, and our struggles were there.
Down
In
south
the
to up
cities,
south.
the projects became really just, if those who lived in the projects, you were from that demographics or whatever, those projects were also like, the sharecropper moment. So we begin to always have our struggles, and or whether you're in South Africa or Senegal or whatever, those struggles are all the same. So it's great to be able to see a film like that and continue to see that in 2022.
That's right. That's right. Because I think as that the indications in it, the fact that she touches so deeply on the truth of our situation, and the truth remains. This is something, there was never a commercial endeavor. Never an endeavor. It was never, it was always, I feel that JE has always maintained the sense of community and outreach and how it's going to impact everyone. She knows that words have power.
Yes.
And that they impress us for a lifetime. That was a long time ago, and I still resonate with some of the conversations that Jay and I had at that time. Her ability to listen to the actor, to the artist. There are a lot of people, when I did that film, they didn't really care what happened to the actress or the human who played the role. But J.E. has maintained a friendship from the beginning, a listening quality, a giving quality, a loving quality, and making it very clear that one has to struggle for that love, that one has to emerge, so to speak, to become what one is meant to become, and a creative soul, and I think that has touched all of us, and that's why we're all here tonight, because somehow we have been touched by this creative spirit that is nurtured by the artist J. Franklin.
Most definitely. I also, well said. I also noticed too in your first time of being in this film, that you also got a choreographic credit.
Yeah. Well, she was
yes, I did.
choreographer.
I did.
Right?
I did. Yes, I did.
I read those credits. I was
you sure did.
I said that she got a choreograph. I mean, that says a lot.
It is.
In terms of you being a first timer and then coming and doing that whole scene and improv, or whether it was improv, or whether you because it came from the soul.
It did. And I felt fearless. I felt fearless, and I love music, and I was ready. I don't know. There are some things that are far beyond us. I for some reason, when I came to New York, I enrolled in a ballet class. I don't even know why I did that. And I was taking classes. So something in me was prepared.
Yes.
And, you know how those things work. You don't know how they work, but they do work.
Yeah. I want to go back a little.
Speaking.
Yes, that spirit was speaking, and I was with it. I danced in college, but then my first experience of African dance, or just expressive dance, was when I moved to New York in 1983. I mean, 84. So yes, I want to go back a little bit, because one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Ms. Franklin, is that what inspired you to become a playwright?
Well, it happened really organically. I was a part of the Mississippi Summer Project, and I was asked to go down by the Congress of Racial Equality, to go down to Mississippi and work with Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer to help with the voter registration drive. So, here we are again, talking about voter registration, voter suppression. And when I got to the community that I was assigned to, the children couldn't read. And many of them were in the 7th and 8th grade, and they were reading on 1st and 2nd grade level. I mean, literally, trying to read the Fun with Dick and Jane book. And when I saw the children couldn't read, I was moved to write a play. I'd never written a play. I'd been a member of the Judson Poets Theater and I'd watched plays, but I'd never been in a play and I'd never written a play. And the children's language was just so rich in the community. Someone sent us an old typewriter and a mimeograph machine. Remember those machines you had to roll the drum around and print everything out by hand. And just listening to the language and shaping it into a play, the children were able to remember the lines they had contributed to the play. And that was their reading material. We used that as the reading material. And all of those children who were a part of that freedom class that we started, I would meet them under the trees because we were driven out of all the buildings we tried to occupy and teach in. And after we got an actual script that they could hold in their hands and use, they were able to learn their reading and their writing skills through the script. And that play was called A First Step to Freedom. And that was my first step to freedom.
Oh. It's wonderful to hear you say that. And I know I'm going back a little bit to being one of the things that he did for his people, because first he started out as a playwright. He started out as a writer, but he wanted his people to be educated in terms of, there was a lot of illiteracy, like you talk about, like how you started about education and how he decided to become a filmmaker because that was the only way that he knew that his people would be able to understand who they were and what. And I think that is just so great. And that's why we have all these commonalities in which we live as people of color or Black people or whatever you want to call us, African Americans. We have this, we are still thinking on the same lines as how to reach our people each and every day through the arts. And that's who we are. Not, I mean, we're many facets of people in terms of science. But the arts is a way that we definitely connect to and learning who we are and what we are capable of being and our stories, and a pleasure to listen to those stories.
Yes.
Around the world. So yeah, the arts is how we are educated in terms of.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna bring a few people on the stage so they could jump into the conversation. You guys can keep going.
Okay, go ahead. If there's any Q&As, any questions before Peggy leaves, that would be great.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing a few people so that this is Nikki Williams. Hopefully she comes up.
Nikki.
Everyone, I know I love Nikki Williams.
Nikki, yeah, that's my neighbor.
Yeah, poet.
Yeah, she's my neighbor.
Yeah, we've known each other for at least 30 years too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Nikki, can you hear us? Let me see.
Where are you, Nikki?
I'm gonna ask her to.
Peggy, in terms of being in where you are now in terms of teaching around the country and around the world, can you talk about what you are doing today and continuing your?
Sure. In the public schools, I was there today at Central Park East. I do storytelling, and the storytelling is basically original stories based on what I see is needed in the classroom. What is a conversation that the students need to have? If it's around bullying, I create a story so that they can hear it. And sometimes we act them, we take them to the playmaking um, that will allow them to have a sort of springboard for discussion on different issues like friendship, intergenerational issues, whatever they're dealing with. And so the stories are always original. When I'm working with university students, it's usually at during their last year when they have acquired so many different skills and they have to put together something original, an original play. So I sort of am always at that place where I'm learning, and it's always a kind of first time that someone is presenting something to their whole community or to their family or what have you, but they have a search for their creative voice, their authentic voice, and not just necessarily something that they've read somewhere, but that comes from within them. Um, so yeah, basically, well, in the college they call it self-scripting. In
Yes.
public schools they call it storytelling. But it's all about finding the original voice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And Ms. Franklin,
Yes.
what, how are you still inspiring young artists to reach the stars with their talents?
Well, I start by giving them shaping material out of Aesop's fables.
Oh.
In fact, I've created a game that goes along with the fables, and I turn them into performable 3-minute plays. And I take them around to the schools and parks. I'm a vendor at Riverbank State Park, and I've actually formed a performing team of children who perform along with adults. I have a beatbox artist, Mr. D. Cross, and he's a cultural ambassador. He travels to Azerbaijan every year, and he works along with the children. He's a public school teacher also. So we don't just sit back and just write plays and keep them to ourselves. We spread this around because we know that our children need this work. And because it's they're intergenerational and you can include the adults with the children, that's how discipline kind of keeps the children even, because they're working with older adults and in many cases senior citizens who they like the fables better than the children, if you ask
That's
me.
right.
And so that's how I keep in touch with the young people. I have a number of plays that have roles for young girls and young men, and that's especially important to have roles for young people they have this expression called at risk, young people who are at risk. Well, there is no risk when they're on the stage. In fact, if there were a stage in every classroom,
Right.
You would see all of the discipline problems decrease immediately.
Yes.
Because one of the things we do with the fables is have the children be in charge of casting their 3-minute play. They cast it. And of course, they're going to pick the people they want to work with, and that's fine, because if they're working with people they want to work with, then they're not bullying anybody. They're not being disruptive. They're working. Everybody is working at the same time. And you can't beat the fables for passing on moral truths and philosophy and poetry and all of that rolled into one 3-minute form.
Wow.
That's how I keep in touch with the young people.
Wow.
And still creating your own.
Yes.
Well,
beautiful.
that too.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, I always say, I've been working on a film myself for quite a while. And you know, sometimes I get a little discouraged, but I keep going because I always figure it ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
And to keep, you know, we're on this planet as long as we are for a reason. And so it is good to know that you ladies are still creating, still full speed ahead and creating wonderfully for not just us as Black people, but for the world to know that you can tell our stories through you all, and to have you still amongst us to still identify what our struggles are, and that to know also that we're more than those struggles, and that we can persevere in many ways. And so, you know, I'm just honored tonight, this evening, to have you amongst us, and continue to maybe meet you in person one day also.
Yes.
I met Mrs. Franklin one time. We've been to the, you know, to Real Sisters Film Festival in Brooklyn. Yeah. So yes, it's wonderful. Carolyn, do we have any questions?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if anyone has any questions. You could raise your hand. I want to welcome Minerva, who works at the Dwyer Cultural Center.
Minerva.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you want to
I
share
but
any?
I can hear you, Minerva.
Hi, J.E. You look beautiful. I miss your face. I miss your bananas. I just I miss you, woman. I'm just curious. I'm curious to know how Ozzy got his hands on this. How Ozzy came into the picture to do the film.
Oh,
when the play was off Broadway at the New Federal Theater, it was the only work of that season, 1971-72 season, that got optioned for Hollywood.
Okay.
And the producers knew Ozzy, and they wanted to give him the opportunity to direct the film. I think there might have been a couple of other people that they had in mind, but they chose Ozzy because Ozzy was very committed to our struggle, and I think that was just a meeting of the minds, and he liked the piece, and he wanted to direct it, and that was
I just saw it for the first time today.
Wow.
wow.
Yes, and
I'm happy.
Wow.
I've lived at least 3 point of views in that movie. Yeah. So I felt it. I mean, I just felt it internally. I was like, oh my gosh, she's talking about me. She's writing about me. Yes. And I just watched it today for the first time.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So woohoo.
Well, you know, I'm blessed that it's still around, and that you know, that I have a copy of it, and in fact, I think it's the University of Southern California, or it might give it's UCLA, is doing a restoration of the film for their archives. And
that's wonderful, because it's still so relevant today.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're doing a digital restoration of the film, and it will be in their archives at UCLA.
Yeah, I was so thrilled to hear about that.
Yeah, they're in the process of raising the money to restore it.
Hold up quite. That's the good thing about film. It does hold up pretty well, and then when they digitize it, even held up even more. And so that's great that they're going to go through all the restoration, because that's what's happening now anyway in terms of you know, preserving films. So it's good that that will go into the archives, most definitely.
I really wish that they could find the WGBH version, but we haven't been able to find it.
So when she directed,
you mean Chanel Perry?
Chanel Perry, when she directed that, did she direct it in terms of how a play would go on the
Yes.
WGBH? And then when it was done, screenplay was more broader in a sense, but it was more or less like how today you would say how, say for example, Ma Rainey, and how it was a play that was filmed and then went to television. Is that the same thing that happened with you with Black Girl, that it was filmed as a play and then broadcast on television?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, first of all, it was on television first.
Right.
It was national education television.
Right.
To WGBH. And
Right.
it was a part of their On Being Black series.
Hold on.
They were looking for 20 plays on Black life. Let's remember, this was after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yes.
And so they were looking for Black voices to calm the situation, really to pacify us. But we took that and we turned it into something that would be lasting and have a broad impact on the Black community. Mm-hmm. So when Sean Neal got the play, it was still in WGBH. It was in video form. It was still in video form. So I had to translate it for the stage. And
usually it's vice versa. So yeah. that was incredible that you did that during that time to do that. And just in terms of just the acting, like what we talked about earlier, just the dynamics from the stage to the screen.
And I had to I was trying to find the pages that I had cut out to make it fit into the 58-minute format for television. And then when I cut it out, I couldn't find the pages. So really what we had on the stage was a 58-minute play, or long one act, or a short full length.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I wish I'd seen the play, just the dynamics alone of, like, you know, when I'm assuming, and always talking to actors from going from stage to the screen, and how it's full of life on, you know, it's broader than broad, you know, it's more dynamic. And so when you go to the screen, it's just like, where, you know, it's almost like your acting has to be toned down a little bit, because now you're in, like you said, you're in this box. And is it now that you have to find this, you know, this middle ground of where you're bringing out your dynamics? So I'm pretty sure, because just watching the dynamics between the sisters and how they were plotting against Leslie Uggams' character of coming home, and the dynamics of just the knife and all of that, you know, it's a lot, but it's real, you know. So just to see of how that was portrayed in the dynamics that it was on stage was probably very dramatic, you know. So
it was, yeah.
Any more questions, Carolyn?
There's a lot of comments in the chat. If anyone wants, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. If anyone has any questions, if you could raise your hand or drop it in the chat. Because I know Miss Peggy is gonna, you have to leave. I know you.
Yeah. In about 10 minutes. Short. About 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you for coming, Peggy.
Well, you know I would be here, Jay. Now you knew that. If you asked me to do it, you know I was gonna be here. Now you know that.
I know your schedule is.
Oh, okay. There is someone dropped something in chat. Nathaniel, could she talk a bit more about what it was like working with Ossie Davis?
Oh.
Yeah, this is Nathaniel Newsmith.
That Nathaniel, that's you. We're gonna be doing your class next week, all right? All right. Okay. But I learned a lot from Ossie, and really I was honored that he chose to direct the play, because having a named director like that, I mean, you can't go wrong. I just found him to be very gentle person, very gentle person to work with, and I like the way he worked with the actors. A lot of actors get away with a whole lot of stuff, and he, he had a way of working with. He had a way of working with, especially I would say some of the older actors, some of the elder actors. I know actors, I know directors who are very, very harsh and they come down very hard on their actors. But Ozzy was a listener. He was a listener. I admit I didn't, that was my first screenplay. I didn't know anything about screenwriting. It was a struggle for me to translate the work from the stage to the screen. And with, working with Ozzy, I was able to get some skills. I have some skills. And when I was doing the piece that I submitted to Real Sisters that won the Spirit Award, that's why they call us colored.
Yeah.
I could hear Ozzy's voice in the background. And so that talent carries over. Those skills carry over when you're working on something that is unrelated to the first piece that you learn from. You remember, you don't forget, and you pull from your memory, and you're able to use the skills that you learn to do what you need to do with the current project that you're working on. I'm looking to try my skills again. I play with my screenwriting skills again on a project, a 10-play project that I'm working on called the Race Aid Project.
Oh, wow.
And I began it in the 4th century, and I'm coming forward in time, and we started putting this project on the stage at the Dwyer Cultural Center back in 2013 or 14, and so I'm still working on it, and that would be my next project, is trying to translate this to the screen.
Jacqueline, can you hear me? I think she.
Question was, can you talk about Ruby Dee's character at all in terms of?
Talk about character?
Yeah, can you talk about the character that Ruby Dee? Yeah.
We were trying. Actually, Ozzy was trying to work Ruby into the film, but when you are working in the film genre, the playwright doesn't really have anything. You don't really have a role, unless something is not working. They don't call you for anything. And I just happened to have been called to Hollywood because I think Ozzy wanted me to see something, but I don't know what he wanted me to see. But it's only in theater and the stage that the playwright has the last word. When you working in film and you in Hollywood, and they got their own culture, they don't really want you around.
No,
and
they say, here you go, and you're
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they I think that it was agreed between Ozzy and the producers that you need Ruby to have a role, but not a part. She can't be the mother, and she can't be the grandmother. They had already decided who that was going to be. And you have to give and take. They let me select about 2 or 3 people in the film, and then they get the pick of everybody else. And so, the deal was I picked Billie Jean. That was first. I picked her first. And then, if something else, if they say, okay, well, here's another one you can have. And, so I get the 2 sisters, and that was it. That was it. So my 3 choices are, they already used up. It's like you got 3 wishes. Here are your 3 wishes.
Yes.
Your 3 wishes all used up, you finished, you can go home.
Yeah.
Okay, so but I think I got the best deal because I picked the 3 kids.
They were so natural.
They worked it.
They were so natural.
Those sisters worked it.
Yes, they did.
And
yes,
anybody
they did.
who has ever seen the film, they'll never forget Gloria Edwards. They'll never forget Peggy. They'll never forget Black Girl, and they won't forget Loretta Green. They won't forget those 3.
There's an interesting question was by Anna Jones. She wanted to know what was the message. She said, what was the message she wanted the audience to take away from this film?
Well, writing doesn't really work that way. You don't think about a message and then write yourself around that message. It just doesn't work that way. But I did have questions. I think writers, playwrights and screenwriters, and we begin with the question. And the question in this story, whether it was in film or video or the stage, it's the same question. How do you move forward in life and realize your dream in the midst of all these forces? How do you become? How can you be? How do you handle all these forces so that they don't suck you under and destroy you?
And also, I feel that, and I think this is a kind of theme that I have always felt, is that you can arrive where you need to become without stooping, without compromising yourself, without falling victim or being a victim. And I think that's what I feel like from the very first conversation I ever had with you. It had something already to do with some kind of instilled sense of pride and self-respect, no matter how poor you are, that you are you. And because you were born, you have a right to be. And that's what I've always felt.
Yeah.
You don't have to stoop. You don't have to be a Hollywood victim.
Right. I knew so many actors who went to Hollywood and came back so altered, so changed. They didn't know who they were anymore.
Spiritually.
And so that experience is that's a challenge in itself. How do you survive Hollywood?
How do you survive Hollywood? I mean, look at all of this in terms of, especially back then. Because there was so many little roles and positive roles that we had to even portray who we were.
The message in that play and that movie, Black Girl, was so strong that at performing the piece, that at some point I knew that the only way for me to remain in Hollywood were to compromise the very things, the values that had been exemplified in the movie.
Yes.
And I couldn't stay in those circumstances because it was just like breaking away from the home, was breaking away from Hollywood, was like breaking away from the thing. It was the same message. It was the same thing. Right. You got to get out of here, girl. You got to be yourself. So,
well, that's what Big Mama said. Big Mama said was like, how long you gonna keep me prisoner? I'm not raising you and not loving you. When are you gonna break that chain? Well, that right there was, Big Mama was not gonna be the perpetrator, and she was not gonna be the victim of her daughter's situation. Right. And so that was one of the things that I loved about that character, about all of their characters. They were all these certain victims, but in themselves, they were trying to work it out as best they was. And then when Leslie Uggams' character came to Black Girl and said, hey, don't fall in this. Yeah. And I guess that's the same thing like you talk about now, Peggy, and with Hollywood. Yeah. It's a lot of compromise. Yes. We don't understand sometimes, when people look around and then they see how glamorous it is, it's not glamorous when you have to put your whole life out there for people to judge. And it's the worst feeling in the world. Like, why do I have to know about so-and-so and so-and-so's wife or husband or their
Right.
children, they give up so much of their identity of who they are, and then it's not their real identity.
Well, then, I think there's a sense of the danger, the trap is believing in things external to yourself. And I
Mhm.
think that Jay's message has always been personally, and in her writing has always been about the emergence of something from within
Yeah.
that's in you, that
Yes,
is already
Yes.
there in you, and it's of value. And uh you don't have nobody has to tell you who you are. It's a whole lifetime of learning who you are. It's never
yeah,
done. It's
never.
to grow, and that's more valuable than any superficial thing that you can acquire from outside yourself.
Right.
I
Where is the real value? That's what I feel.
Yeah.
And you've always been that way, Jay. You've always listened. You've been very subtle. You can listen to anyone. You get a kick out of anybody that has a good
Oh, God.
story. You know it's true.
As
Your
long as I don't
ear,
get a
you have a
kick
good
from
ear.
anybody.
You got a good ear. You got a good ear.
Yeah, there she
There
goes.
she go.
every question in the chat box. Someone that also wrote, how long does it takes to write a play, and what is your creative process? Did you ever dream your work would last this long?
Mm. Well, the word process is just that. It's a process, and it doesn't really have like a beginning, middle, and end. It's organic, and it unfolds on its own. It has its own life, and there's no time limit on when it begins, and it when it ends. There's a saying in the theater: plays are not written, they're rewritten. um, yes. So as long as you're living, the work is living, and as I
Oh,
said,
wow.
begins with the question. If I
Mhm.
have a question, the process of writing is my process of trying to get that question answered, trying to answer that question.
Yeah.
And maybe you finish with as far as you can go on answering the question, but the questions are all questions about life, and you don't ever answer them fully. You keep working on them
Mhm.
until you're able to answer them to a point that allows you to go further to the next question.
Yes. Anyone else, Karen? Yes.
Okay, and someone just wrote a question about Peggy's experience working with Ozzie Davis. Peggy,
Yeah.
Malika wants to know what your experience was working with Ozzie Davis.
Oh, well, I had a mixed experience, and I agree with everything that Jay said. But as a young actress at the time, coming from St. Louis, working with a professional director who um, was known in Hollywood, and um, I think I was more intimidated
Mm,
by. He was very, as Jay said, he was very gentle. And he was also very sophisticated.
mm,
You have to understand, I came from a poor family that was somewhere between the South and the Midwest. They
Ah,
weren't very educated,
mhm.
they weren't sophisticated in that way. And I think that um, when you're working on a film like that, with a director like that,
Mhm.
you learn how to listen and try to respond from something sincere. And I I had to constantly tell myself, just he's just a person. He's asking you to try this, to
Mhm.
do that, and how to keep it alive, how to just respond on the moment. not so much as a director, you're an actress, but as a human being, what am I feeling right now? My mother just said something that hurt my feeling, and it has to read in me. So I have to feel hurt, and so you have to see the vulnerability. So I think that in that sense, he was very aware of where I was coming from, and he was very sensitive. And because I think if he had said boo, I would have jumped right out of my skin. You know,
Yeah.
I was just that I was that young. I was that, you know,
Yeah.
I was a kid.
But you
And
portrayed it so well. Irene says, Miss Peggy, Madam, thank you for your great work, a legacy of excellence and perseverance.
thank you so
So
much.
that character that you brought alive for all of us, and a little bit of who we are also, where we come from, whether we come from, sophistication or not, it is a part of the Black girl in all of us.
That's right.
In some way and somehow, that it was, that it lives in us, even when we're not even amongst our own people. It
So
shows up,
it shows up.
to be the best or to be someone. And we've gone past that to a certain degree, but it lives so deeply within inside of us that we continue to fight for that.
Yes. Yes.
And recognizing the greatness of our own people.
Right. And this forum right now, I'm grateful for Jay's sensitivity to be sensitive to what is true in ourselves, and this kind of support that we need, and creating an atmosphere where one can just be. And I appreciate that. And I have to sign off right now, but I wish to express my gratitude to each one of you for being here, and thank you, J.E., for inviting me.
And
Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
I'll be in touch, darling,
Love you.
okay?
Love you. Love you. Bye bye. Love you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Love you.
Love you.
That was wonderful. We
great.
are at the 7:30 hour, Karen.
Yeah. So we're gonna just close. Maybe we'll have one more question. I think it was Terry Taylor. Can you hear me? She's one of our memoir writers.
Oh, okay.
Can you speak?
Ladies,
Can you finally?
good evening. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be here. I'm part of American Voices, and this is my first class with them. And
African
I've
Voices.
been working on memoir writing and reviewing movies, and this is my first time here in a forum like this with you guys. I saw the movie Black Girl, and it was good. It was real. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was wondering, do you have any inspirational words for aspiring writers?
Never surrender your dream.
Ooh, okay. Received.
And be on the lookout for people who are trying to deter you and make your work veer off into a direction you don't intend it to go. If it's not, if the director or the actress or the actor is trying to move your work and make it unfold in a direction that's not organically true to you, fight them. Be sure to fight them. I mean, not even for the money, honey. It's not worth it. Just make sure that it's yours, and that it's going where you need it to go. Let it go organically. And
Thank you.
And it will work out.
That was worth $1 million.
Wonderful. Well, Ms. Franklin, it is my honor to meet you today in this way, in this Zoom or webinar. It is a pleasure to meet a legend as yourself. I am inspired to continue my own work because I always say to myself, no matter how old I get, it is not over till it's over, and to keep writing until I leave the planet. And today you have inspired me to do so. So thank you so much for, it was my pleasure to host you today, and to be your host. And thank you so much, Carolyn.
I want to thank you, Jay, so much for just coming and you got to come live. When we get back to in person, we got to do this again.
You know where to find
But
me.
it was just such a wonderful evening having you come here tonight, and thank you. And I know we were trying to do this for at least a month, right?
Yeah, and I was traveling and and stopping here and stopping there, and when I finally got back, I just needed to just rest and sleep. But we got it now.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to thank everyone who came tonight, this evening, and joined us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at other Real Sisters events. As you know, we're doing 25 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to be at the Dwyer Cultural Center June 10th. So you're going to get a special invitation. Nima Barnett was showing Sybil Brand.
I want to thank my daughter Malika and Zinga for setting up this little technical thing for me.
Yeah, so we're doing a special dedication June 10th to Cliff Fraser, who, as you know, is the co-founder of the Dwyer Cultural Center. So we invite everyone to come and look out for that June the 10th. And in closing, we definitely want to thank the West Harlem Development Corporation for sponsoring this series of Real Sisters Tea and Cinema Talks.
Thank you, West Harlem.
The New York State Council on the Arts, the Humanities New York, and the National Endowment for the Arts. It's been a pleasure to be able to host these community events and to have everyone really enjoy and appreciate what our artists and filmmakers do, and also what we do to bring people together. So
thank you, Carolyn, for setting this up. Appreciate this.
Thank you. So we'll see everyone soon. Yeah, I guess that's, do you want to say anything else, Rhonda?
No, I like I said, this has been a pleasure, and I will be there the 25th. I will not be there in June. I'll be in London shooting some stuff. So I will see you in October.
In October.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good night.